Hello and welcome guys to the status report highlight for the 8th of July, 2015. And as work continues on Experimental Branch, where the team is working on reaching suitable build candidate for the next stable update, in this week's status report, we'll see lead producer Brian Hicks commenting on upcoming changes to stable as well as a bit on the future plans for 059 on Experimental Branch. We'll also see lead designer Peter Nespesny commenting on both the current and upcoming state of the scheduler in charge of character updates. So let's kick things off with lead producer Brian Hicks. This week he'd like to recap some of the upcoming changes to stable when 058 goes live. For those that are not up to date with the Experimental Branch when 058 goes live, we can start discussing 059 plans and intent. Like with guardhouse buildings, as work is underway on regional control over the central loot economy, in the interim the guardhouse structures spread across the entirety of the map will not be spawning any loot. This is done to preserve the restriction of high-end military loot to the military bases and camps inland in Chernarus. The structures themselves remain enterable, but until regional control is implemented on Stable Branch, they will remain without spawning loot. Also, the structure some folks refer to as the Camo Building or Jailhouse has been problematic for some time. We've issued hotfixes and addressed several bugs related to it, but the core issue that needs to be addressed is on the player controller. Rather than continue to issue the small hotfixes, otherwise known as bandages on broken legs, the issue needs to be resolved at the cause. To that end, the loot that would normally be spawning within these structures will be redistributed to other military buildings, tents, camps, barracks, etc. Ghost sounds. Those who have played DayZ throughout its early access development are probably no stranger to the notorious Ghost Sounds bug. Splitting ammo, bandaging, opening soda cans, etc. being partially played, and well outside of the range of the actual sound effect. Fortunately, during 058 development, we were able to get some gameplay programmers time to look into this issue, and we are now confident that on 058 the issue has been finally slain. So be very aware after the next stable update, if you hear a sound effect playing, it is near you. Be careful out there. Rex, non-interactive. With work on the central loot economy continuing, and the functionality of how it operates being iterated upon, non-interactive Rex, tanks, destroyed UAZs, etc. have been removed from the loot spawning tables, and the environment team will begin using them in their devastation passes across Chernarus. As with other structures, items that would normally spawn there will be redistributed across Chernarus. Note, this is not including interactive Rex, such as vehicles you can open the trunks, doors, etc. on. Animation glitching. The gameplay programming team is currently investigating the cause and symptom behind the notorious animation glitch bug. Weapon swapping constantly, as well as the issue with dropping your weapon when vaulting. The weapon vaulting fix should be coming in experimental soon, and it is the aim of the team internally to also include a fix toward the weapon swapping animation bug. Loot respawning, persistence enabling. Persistence itself has been functioning for some time. The cause behind it being manually disabled on 057 stable servers is tied to the issue with loot respawning. We're aiming to have the issue resolved before we push 058 to stable branch. Once we've tested this on experimental and are confident in the fix, players will be able to resume making camps, storing gear, and so on. Similar issues with dynamic event cleanup and respawn were the cause of static dynamic events, and these issues are currently being investigated and are marked critically on the 058 launch. In addition to these issues, bugs related to severe player position desynchronization are currently being investigated and flagged as a must fix for 059. Hicks hopes this brief list of information pertaining to 058 helps update those who may not have kept a close eye on the Experimental Branch updates. That's all from Hicks, so let's move on to lead designer Peter. With the 057 stable version of DayZ, many of you experience weird behavior on the character side, such as freezing core updates for hunger, thirst, bleeding, and others, which in many cases rendered the character temporarily immortal or in worst case killed him instantly after logging back into the server. Unsurprisingly, the root of all these issues was in the scheduler, which is handling character updates recently. During our in-house testing, we didn't catch some circumstances leading to not clearing character properly from scheduler's array of active characters. This issue was especially triggered by respawning and in some cases by disconnecting from the server. After some time, the schedule array became partially populated by ghosts, and newly collected or respawned players were forced to live outside of it. As the scheduler wasn't aware of their existence, it didn't process core updates for them. Fortunately, now it's fixed, testing and ready to go, so Peter hopes we won't be experiencing such issues very soon. And that's all for this status report highlight for the 8th of July 2015. On a final note, lead producer Brian Hicks will be speaking at RTX 2015, discussing the plans for apocalyptic Chernarus moving into the end of the year, from expanding base building options, new vehicles, modding support, character soft skills, and the upcoming engine changes. Brian will discuss and demo some of the upcoming changes to the post-apocalyptic survival simulator, DayZ, with a Q&A to follow. I will leave a link in the description for those that are interested, as well as for everything else, including DayZ TV for your latest DayZ news and information. And I'll see you peeps next time.